got a message this morning about why humanity is glitching. Now, not a glitch in the Matrix, that's a story for another day, but why humanity is glitching, as in, why are we struggling so much? Why are we in so much chaos? Why are so many people freaking out and glitching right now? And we're glitching because we're not in a state of love. And we're no longer seeing things as sacred, and it's driving us crazy. And on this spiritual journey, when we start learning or being told by all these spiritual teachers and speakers out there that life is just a game, and you're a soul that's incarnated into this human body and you're meant to just have fun with it, and it's all a game anyway and none of it really matters, just have fun with it. That's a very slippery slope when we start seeing everything as a game and everyone in our life as a character in our game. The ego can come in and take over, and this is what this message is about. That we need to start seeing things as sacred and not see everything as let's just have fun with it, because we can become very careless and very reckless with that type of outlook, that thinking that you can do whatever you want and who cares, I'm infinite consciousness and I can do whatever I please. And seeing everything as a game is actually stripping the sacredness away from life, because the fact that you are here is very sacred and life is very sacred. And when we see life as a game, we can start disrespecting the game. We can start disrespecting the people in our lives and the people around us, and we have to be very careful with thinking that everything's a game. And when we realize that we are not human, we are eternal soul, we're eternal light beings, we're infinite consciousness, and we no longer see ourselves as human, we can start disrespecting the human, either our own human or other humans. And we still need to remember that even on a soul level, people are not harmed or hurt or distorted or corrupted by anything that happens to them in this life, because the soul is an eternal light that is never dimmed. Although that is true, people still deserve love and respect. And this is not just a game, and this is not just something you can mess around with and play around with. You are here to play, but it's meant to be coming from a state of love. You're meant to have fun with this human experience, but it's meant to come from a place of love. And a lot of people are distorting it and twisting it and playing into the ego desires, and then using this spiritual journey or this spiritual concept that this is a game as kind of an excuse to act the way they're acting right now. It doesn't mean that you can go around and treat people however you like, because on a soul level they're not harmed anyway and none of it really matters and it's all a game. It does matter how you treat people, and we can no longer justify our actions because of this knowledge that souls are eternal and infinite, so we can do whatever we want. We still need to care about people, and we still need to treat people right. And not just go, it doesn't matter, it's all a lesson anyway, it's all helping my evolution, so I can do whatever I want. And this is the spiritual ego coming in and taking over when we start feeling superior on the journey. And we also use the spiritual journey as a cover for the ego's desires. Now, as a cover, I mean that we are doing whatever we want, which is of the ego, and then saying, oh, but that's a spiritual journey because I'm a soul that's incarnated into this human body and I'm allowed to do whatever I want. But it's still coming from a place of the ego, not from a place of love, which is what the spiritual journey really is. And the ego is a double-edged sword. Many people don't even know that they're in a spiritual ego because the ego has disguised itself as truth. We think we're doing the right thing. We think we're following the spiritual path, and what everyone's telling us, all these speakers telling us that we're meant to just have fun with it. We're like, okay, so I can act on impulse and do whatever I want. Not exactly. No, you can't, because the ego can come in and take over in that moment. And the ego is very adaptive. It's very quick to shift from, it either plays into the story of you being inferior or plays into the story of you being superior, but we are equal in our essence, all of us. We are equal in our essence. but we are unique in our expression. We are equal in our holiness, in our divinity, in our sinlessness, in the fact that we are eternal light beings, that we are eternal souls, that we are all a part of infinite consciousness. But we express that consciousness differently, and that's what makes us different. That's what makes us special on this planet. We're all unique expressions of that divine nature and of that divine essence. So you are never inferior or superior, which is what the ego likes playing in, and we have to make sure that we keep aligning to that truth and that oneness of who we all really are. And if you fall off the path and you act out of ego or you act out of fear, that's fine. You're not perfect. We all do it. But the goal should really be about coming back to being conscious and coming back to being aware. That you are either coming from a place of love and sacredness, or you're coming from a place of the ego of, I'm going to have fun doing whatever I want to make me happy, and the soul is eternal and it's all a game. This reality is a game. And you're not being conscious in that moment because you're just acting on your impulses and on your ego desires. And on this journey of being human on this planet, you still have to be conscious of your actions, and you need to come from a place of love always. And I say always because you're not always going to come from a place of love, because you're going to fall into fear. That's perfectly human. But the goal should always be about coming back to that place of love and acting from that place. And the idea of let's just have fun with it, that isn't always coming from a place of love. It's coming from a place of the ego desires of what we want, what serves us, what benefits us. And that can harm other people because we're not treating people with love or with respect. And, a lot of people are saying at the moment that, where being human is meant to be fun. So you can do whatever you want. If you want to eat a burger, eat a burger. If you want to eat ice cream, eat ice cream. If you want to make love, go make love. If you want to get with that girl, get with her. If you want to get with her as well. Do whatever you want. Make love with everyone under the sun if you like, because you're human, and just make the most of being in this human body. And that outlook of just doing whatever you want, that takes the sacredness away. And I want to specifically talk about this, about making love as an example, that you're losing the sacredness of what it is to make love when you're kind of almost making a joke out of it, because it's all a game and none of it really matters. It does matter. And of course you're meant to have fun, but do you actually love and respect that human being, or are you just doing it because it's what makes you happy and because it's what you want, and it's because that's what you're tempted by, that's what you feel you want in the moment, because it's your reality and it's your game, and she's just a character in your game and you can do whatever you like with her. And there's a very fine line, isn't there, between wanting to make love with someone because you genuinely love them and want to connect with them, to I want to make love with them because this is a game and I can do whatever I want. No, that's what I want, I'm going to go do it. It's very, very different, because one is coming from a place of sacred love and the other isn't, but it's disguised as the same. And in this spiritual journey, this is when things start getting tricky, because we use the spiritual journey as an excuse to act recklessly, because we're going, oh well, I'm a human, I'm a soul in a human body, I'm just having fun with it. That's what the spiritual journey is. Aren't we just meant to have fun and just create and just make love and eat burgers and ice cream and do whatever we want? And that's not exactly right. It's not exactly right because you're not treating people with love and respect the way you're not treating them the way they deserve to be treated. And there's a lot of people that think they're doing a good job at being human, think they're doing a good job on this spiritual journey of just having fun in the human body, but it's coming from the spiritual ego of this, being human and making the most of it, and this is what I'm meant to be doing, and I'm just doing what suits me and what makes me happy, because that's why I'm here. It's all about me. It's all about what makes me happy. And that's not exactly that's not exactly true. That's a yes and a no to that answer. It's yes, you are here to make yourself happy, but no, you can't just act on whatever you want, because you need to respect other people around you. And things are sacred, and making love, as an example, is something that's very, very sacred. For you to connect with another human is very sacred. It's not something that should be messed around with. It's not something that should be downplayed as it not being that big of a deal, and it's all just fun and games, and it's all a part of this game. And there are very sacred elements to the human experience that are a big deal, and they are sacred, and they should be respected, and they're not being right now, because we're falling into this trap of everything's a game, so I can do whatever I please, and that's when people start getting hurt. And I'm not here to tell you how to play your game. You can do whatever you like, and if you want to go follow your ego desires and say that's you being spiritual and you're just having fun in the game, it will lead to emptiness eventually, and you'll come back to watch this video later on, I know that. Or you'll come to a realization eventually that that is not the way to go. But if you really want to follow this path, this true spiritual path that doesn't get run by this spiritual ego, I truly believe that we do realize that this life is a game. But the whole point of the spiritual journey is to not let our ego come in and say, yay, I can do whatever I want, and it's a free-for-all, so I can be careless and I can be reckless, and I can be an unconscious human and do whatever I like, and it doesn't matter because it's all a lesson, and it's all for my soul growth anyway. And you have this lack of responsibility for your own actions. When we realize that this reality is a game and that we create it, we're meant to create our reality from a place of unconditional love. And we treat the game as sacred, and we have fun along the way. And we're having fun, but we're still being conscious. Now, they are not opposites. There is a huge program that to be conscious is being boring, and we need to have fun, you need to be unconscious. Of having fun is going out and getting blind drunk. Having fun is going on psychedelics and escaping this reality, or taking some other drug to get off your face because that's cool and that's fun. Or it's sleeping with every chick under the sun because I'm having fun being in my human body, and that's me on my journey, on my spiritual journey. But it's not actually spiritual, is it? Because we're stuck in this belief that drinking or smoking dope or taking drugs or sleeping with people is fun. But none of those acts are conscious. All of those acts are about us being unconscious. And we think that that's doing all those things is what it means to be living our life to the fullest, when it's really not. And that being spiritual is boring, being conscious is boring, being responsible for our own actions is boring, and being self-aware, how lame. And taking accountability for your actions and seeing everything as sacred, that's just so lame, because I just want to fuck around and have fun being human. And that's what so many people are saying. They just want to have fun. They don't want to see the sacredness anymore, and this is what's driving everyone crazy. And we have this sense of righteousness that comes from the ego, of which inevitably leads to someone getting hurt or someone getting used. And that is not the game. If you're on that path right now, the point of the game is to get back to that state of love and sacredness and divine awareness. That's what the spiritual journey is. And you have fun along the way, and you have fun coming from a pure, loving, genuine place, not this reckless ego chasing my desires and doing whatever I want and not caring about the repercussions of my actions because it's all a game anyway. It's just you're just completely lacking responsibility, and this is why people are going crazy and people are starting to glitch is we're not in that state of love. We're in this ego, reckless, careless state. And the message is stop using the spiritual journey as an excuse to be an unconscious human. Stop using the spiritual journey as in stop using the knowledge that this is a game to be an unconscious human and do whatever you want and think that you can get away with anything you like. Because the ego is all about keeping you unconscious. Even when you're conscious of this being a game and I'm going to do whatever I want, I'm going to treat people however I like, it's still coming from a place of unconsciousness, because you're meant to treat people out of love and out of respect. And if you treat people any other way, it's insanity and it's unconsciousness. And the point of this game, the point of this spiritual journey is to get back to sanity, back to truth, which is love. So when you're not acting out of a place of love, when you're not in love, you're actually insane. And that didn't land for me the first time, so just sit with it. But I really want you to think about when you're not in a state of love, you actually do start to glitch. And when you're not in a state of love, you feel it. You feel the fear, you feel the shakiness, you feel that recklessness, and your mind goes crazy and you become very unstable. And that's when you go out and do stupid things like getting blind drunk, taking heaps of drugs, sleeping with every girl under the sun, doing whatever you want. And there's this chaotic build-up of energy because your mind and body actually don't know what to do when you're not in a state of love. Because, and you might say, well, we're in fear all the time, we're in stress all the time, we're in fight or flight response all the time. But it's still not normal, and it's still foreign to the body, to the mind, to the system, being in survival all the time, because it wants to be in homeostasis. It wants to be in that calm, peaceful state of love. And we're seeing it in the human race right now, that people are going crazy, people are going insane because they've been in this fight or flight, survival, fear, ego mode for too long, and we need to get back to that state of love. And when you're not in that state of love, you can't think properly. You get confused, you're in illusions, you're in fantasies, you're in self-deceptions, whether you either fall into that story of being inferior, where you go down into this mental doom spiral, and that's when you experience things like depression and anxiety and even suicidal thoughts. And then the other end of the spectrum is when you start hyping yourself up and thinking that you're more superior than everyone else. You think you're the best thing since sliced bread, and you treat other people badly because you think you're better than them. And you're in that superiority complex, or that main character energy. Now, the main character energy is beautiful when you're aligned with love. But if you're not aligned with love, your ego has taken over. And we can see this, that humanity is glitching right now because we're not coming from a place of love. And we are love. So when we're not in love, when we're not acting from that place, we start freaking out. Like, who am I? What am I doing? Why am I here? And why am I so confused? We start asking ourselves, why am I so anxious? Why am I so depressed? Why am I so angry? Why am I freaking out? Why am I so in fear? And why am I so empty? And now I'm going to go do something really stupid to try fill that void. And when you come from a place of love, it's so smooth and it's so effortless, and there's no resistance. There's so much love and compassion and grace within yourself that you then give other people. There's so much acceptance, and you're in flow, not chaos. You're not confused because you have clarity of the path that you're on, the path of love. You're aligned with who you are, you're aligned with love, and you don't freak out and act unconsciously and walk around blind, because you are conscious and you're aware and you are awake. And being conscious then ends up being fun. That we need to break the story that being conscious is boring and being unconscious is fun, because true fun is actually being conscious and being aware of how you show up in the world and how you treat other people and how you treat yourself. And it becomes fun being conscious because you're being your true self. You're being love. And what could be more fun than that? And everything else is an illusion. Spirit is saying everything else is an illusion of fun. The true fun is coming back into alignment, coming back into consciousness, coming back into awareness, self-awareness of where your genuine intentions are really at. And there is this huge program that we need to break, and we need to stop going back to this default setting of being blind and unconscious and sabotaging ourselves and others, then making a joke out of it and using anything, including the spiritual journey, as an excuse to get away with it. It's all a game, so it doesn't matter. And because life is sacred, and when we see it as a game, we don't see it as sacred anymore. But life is sacred. You are sacred. Everyone else in your life, everyone that crosses your path is sacred as well. This game is sacred. The characters in your game, if that's what you like to call it, are sacred as well. And we are all learning lessons, we are all evolving, and our souls don't get hurt by what happens here because we're eternal and it's all fun and games. That is true. But we can have fun and see the sacredness at the same time. That is the message. This is the conscious way of living the human experience. Being conscious, having fun, and seeing the sacredness, not it turning reckless and careless and ending up with us hurting other people. Now, if you want to get back to sanity and get back to truth and back to the true spiritual path, if you want to stop acting unconsciously and sabotaging and glitching, go back to love. And if you fall off and do stupid things and act out of fear or act out of the ego, that's fine. You're always forgiven, but you go back to love, back to love, back to love, always. And when you follow love, you automatically go to what makes you happy. So just don't follow the ego's thoughts of what's going to make you happy. Because very often the ego is just looking outside itself to fill a void. And, well, when it tries to go fill an ego, when it tries to fill its own void, which the void isn't actually really there, but when it starts seeking outside itself, it can use people, it can hurt people, and whatever the ego is saying is going to make you happy probably won't make you happy in the long run, and it's pretty much always wrong, and it always leads to emptiness and despair, and normally it involves hurting someone, either you or other or both, and we don't want to do that. We want to treat ourselves and others with love and with consciousness and awareness as we're playing and having fun in the game, as we're having fun in this human experience. So that is the message, and we just need to connect the two of like living consciously and having fun in that self-awareness of not like just going off on a rampage and going off and doing whatever we want and acting recklessly and thinking that it's all a game and we can get away with it. It's about coming from a place of love, having fun, but in that place of love, not from the place of the ego desires and fulfilling our own needs and our own desires and our own wants and our own dreams, because it's not just about you, but it is about you at the same time. See how this is really tricky to explain? Everything is you. Everything is a reflection of you. All the people in your life are an aspect of you. I guess all the characters in your game are for you, but they're also not, and they deserve love and they deserve respect. And we need to start seeing the sacredness in life again. Yes, life is meant to be fun. Yes, it's about chasing what makes you feel joy and makes you feel happy and what lights you up. It is about you, yes, but come from a place of love where you're treating other people in a genuine, loving way, not using them for your own journey or for your own benefit, because that is of the ego. And this is when the ego can very it's a trickster. It can make you think that you're on the right track and you're still not coming from that genuine loving place. So this was the message that Spirit wanted me to share, just about why humanity is glitching so much is because we're not in that state of love, and we are not seeing the sacredness of life anymore. Yes, this life is a game. Yes, we're meant to have fun, but see the sacredness in it as well. I love you.